Hello, it is April 14th, 2025, Monday evening. I want to begin by asking you guys if there are any questions or comments that you would like, questions you would like to raise or comments you would like to make at this moment.
This is Angela.
Great.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I listened to Evelyn, and I wanted to say thank you to Evelyn and to everyone else on the line, that I love you all. Thank you.
We love you as well, babe. Thank you.
Love you too, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you.
My sister.
Thank you. We talked about, again, yesterday, we talked about the scapegoat as well as Ashe. And I think we have a better understanding about the scapegoat. If for some reason, you're on and you were not on yesterday, I suggest that you go to YouTube and review the lesson, and that I'm sure that you will get a greater understanding from it. However, if you were on and there are questions about something that was said or a comment you may have about it, would you please raise that question now or make those comments now? Okay. We ended talking about the spirituality of melanin and the power therein. And I wanted to ask also if there are any questions pertaining to that or statements that you may want to make based upon something that you've read or thoughts you've had since then. Okay, so no questions, no comments. Well, then we also talked about the priest who lays his hand on the goat. I forgot about that part of it. And we determined in our conclusions that when you know who you are a priest in that regard. So having no questions or no comments, then I can say good night, right?
I have a question, not about that, because
Okay.
I wasn't on. Well, I wasn't on Saturday either. But I want to know if there's anything along with when Moses gave Aaron the rod and told him to scratch the rod out and it turned into a serpent. What was it? Was any more significance to other than he said he couldn't speak eloquent in front of to people, or he stirred it. Was there anything else to him giving Aaron that rod to put down?
I have, excuse me, I'm very familiar with the scripture you're talking about, but I have not looked at that enough to be able to respond to that based upon spirituality. The literal understanding of that, of course, I'm familiar with. However, there are several understandings of the serpent. If you look at the serpent from the Kemetic understanding of it, you will see that the serpent was a symbol of the serpent, rather, was worn by those who were healers. And when you look at the Caduceus with a serpent wrapped around it with the wings, it also it copied that from Kemet. The serpent represents the Kundalini, which is the fire inside the spiritual the spiritual energy that elevates from the midsection, from the sexual organs to the crown of your head and beyond. So when you ask it in relationship to that portion of scripture, I cannot give you clarity on that right now. However, I will make a note to look at it, okay?
Okay. Well, let me ask you another one. I heard Ron Carpenter on TV yesterday. He said, people say, Lord, I want you to heal me. And he said, God is not up there doing anything for you. You got to walk in your healing. Can you explain?
Yeah, I can. Ron Carpenter is a bumper sticker preacher. And I've met him before. And quite frankly, Ron, he leaves a lot to be desired as far as I'm concerned.
Ron
Now,
Carpenter.
Carpenter, I'm
Ron
sorry,
Carpenter.
Carpenter. Okay, I thought you said parsley.
Yeah, Ron Carpenter.
Okay. When people talk about walking, when preachers talk about walking in your healing, what does that mean? That is saying, physician, heal thyself. Now, if that is the case, then why is it that Carpenter did not explain what it meant to walk in your healing? Even though I was quoting, thinking you were talking about parsley, that's a bumper sticker too. We have all these cliches that comes out of the mouth of preachers and pastors and bishops and priests with no meaning. They give no explanation to it whatsoever. So how do we talk about this thing of healing? That years ago, I guess about, I don't know how many years it was, quite some time ago, I remember standing at Great New Faith. I know when it was, when George Bush became president. I was standing at Great New Faith, and I said to them that the day is going to come when we are going to have to heal ourselves. We're going to trust God for our healing. That's what it was. We're going to have to trust God for our healing because the doctors and hospitals are not going to do anything for us. We're not going to have access to adequate medical care. Great New Faith, those on it, you remember that? I guess you
Yes, we
don't.
remember. Real.
Okay.
We remember. It's taken us a long time to get to tell you that.
Okay. All right. So what am I saying now? What we are, where are we? We are in this space now where we look at the scriptures when it comes to healing and we see where Jesus is purported to have laid hands on people or spoke to people and they were healed. What does that mean in relationship to deliverance? When you are delivered from religion, when your deliverance has brought you to a space where you realize who you are, you embrace who you are. When you get to that place where there is no doubt in your mind about who you are, you have opportunity to bring healing to yourself. You become your own physician. So why is it that we are not able to do that at this moment? Because we are still inundated with religious crap. We are also inundated with a European mindset. And the European mindset does not believe anything that it cannot identify or sell. So we have to recoup our we have to recoup our understanding of who we are. Meaning that we have to recoup the depth from the depths of our souls and believe that not only can we heal ourselves, but there are healers in our presence who can do the same. Some of you who grew up, especially in rural areas, uh, you probably can remember there were older people in the community who knew how to bring healing to the body. There were, when we talked about the midwives, we talked about delivering babies, but we did not talk about that midwifery. What's that word? Wifery? Wifery? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Included more than delivering babies. If there was a problem with fever with the mother, they knew how to deal with that. If there were breathing problems, they knew how to deal with that. And they were not just delivering a baby, removing a baby from a womb and snipping a natal cord. They were capable of dealing with any problems that grew out of that birth. And now it is totally different. They understood the the baby would be much healthier if it passed through the womb as opposed to having a cesarean. All of these things, or they understood, but the more I say sophisticated, but I'm wrong. The more we began to embrace the mindset of the European, the less we gave credence to the powers of healing that our foreparents had. And now we are in a space where we are going to have to revisit um, our beginnings so that we can once again be able not only to bring healing to ourselves, but bring healing to others. Now, many of you know that I have indeed laid hands on people and they were healed. They were delivered from the sickness and the disease that they was damaging their bodies. And some of you have done the same as well. So I'm saying in a very rounded way that what Ron Carpenter said has no power because he didn't explain it. It does not amount to a healer being because he didn't explain it. Um, and I conclude what I am saying by saying to you, let no one tell you that you are so strong to heal yourself, you don't need any medical attention. The Creator saw fit to give us opportunity to have medical attention because the Creator knew that we were moving from the space of Kabbalah in terms of our understanding our divine essence to a place where we were going to be more in tune with the material world and a European mindset than we are with the essence with which we were created. So now we are in the process of transforming ourselves and others and the environment around us from a space of doubt and a space of depending on a European mindset and Europeans to bring healing to us. I know I've said a lot, and I'm not running from the question. I hope that I have brought some clarity, if not a total answer to you, Kathy, and the rest of you, of course.
Yes, you have to make.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other
I have
questions?
a question.
Wait a minute, Evelyn.
I have one.
Wait a minute, baby.
Is being healed and
Yep.
being delivered the same?
Yes, because you're being delivered from whatever was.
I didn't hear you.
Yes, because you're being delivered from whatever's in your body. Did you get it?
Okay, so it doesn't, I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
So it doesn't have to be anything that's physical.
It can also be, I'm outside, I'm sorry. It can also mean that you are, so being healed is not just a physical thing, it's also mental as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. See, this is the thing. When the committed physicians um, had a patient, they did not simply heal the body. They also healed emotions. They also brought balance to their mental state. Um, they also um, brought peace to their soul. And one of the major ways that they did that was through music. Not only through the herbs, but through music. And that the music that was in rhythm with the universe was capable of bringing healing. And to this day is available. Also, the um, the herbs that were used to bring healing uh, heal more than just your body. Because anybody that's wrought with in pain that has a diseased body, it also affects your emotion. So you have to take that into account also. The first doctors in this country were Africans, and if you go to Jamestown, Virginia, you will find that the when the enslaved people were first brought into Jamestown, they the enslaved people were the healers, and a white man would go around with them. The enslaved person did the healing, the white man got the credit. And the white man learned what the African was doing, and it got to the place where no longer was the African permitted to carry out his role as a physician. It was taken over by white people, and black people, African people, were not even permitted to go to med school when med schools were brought in, brought online. I mean, brought into when they were organized because they were Africans. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you, Evelyn, is that if the whole person is not healed, then there is no point in healing a part of the person. Does that make sense?
It does, and you have to have a certain frequency in order to heal someone, right? Because if you, yeah,
when I said the rhythm of the universe, that's what I'm talking about.
okay, because if you vibrating from a low frequency, you can't do anything. And that's why it's important that we stay with a certain frequency or vibrate high, if that makes sense, in order to heal anyone or ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and let me elaborate on that a minute if I can.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
When we talk about a higher vibration, we're talking about function, whether we say vibration, rhythm, frequency, all of that's the same. When we vibrate at the frequency, the same frequency of the universe, then we are balanced, and we are able to do anything. Meaning that you can bring healing to yourself emotionally, mentally, etc., as well as others. When what the European was saying about deliverance from illness, when it says that the centurion said to Jesus, "You don't have to come to my house." Well, that was simply the Creator saying to us, when you understand that there is one in your presence, or those in your presence, who vibrate at the same frequency of the universe, they do not have to be in your presence to bring deliverance to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, thank you. The deliverance is not just physical, it is in every aspect. You cannot even hold on to your peace when you are watching what's going on around you if you are not vibrating at the frequency of the universe. When we have these ups and downs and go through all these changes because of what's happening in this society and around the world, it's because we are not vibrating at the same frequency of the universe. If you stop and breathe and bring yourself to a space of balance, a place where you are in rhythm with the universe, then you will experience a totally, you will have a totally different experience than you would when you are not. When you're in your workplace and things are not going well and you are upset about it, you are out of balance. You need to go someplace, breathe. You need to remind yourself who you are, breathe, so that you can remain in rhythm with the universe. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
It's very clear. And also, you have to be in the now, in the present, correct?
But you cannot be in rhythm with the universe and be in the past or the future because you're not focused. You
Okay.
cannot focus on the future. You cannot focus on the past and expect to be in rhythm with the universe. That's not going to happen. Anything that you need to know that's going to happen, you don't have to search for it. The universe will show you it without you having to search for it. That is one of the major reasons that I say we have no right, nor do we have an obligation to shape what's going to be after this country has fallen. Because we function with a mind that has been contaminated with the European mindset. So we would bring into existence a compromised state of being as opposed to one of peace, one of loving kindness, etc. So when we understand that there is no past, there is no future, there's only the present. When we see that and wrap our mind around that, we see that we are continuously in rhythm with the universe. Yesterday, when I talked about the spirituality of melanin, I had never in my life seen that before. If I had sat down the night before and tried to figure out what about whether or not melanin is spiritual, I doubt very seriously if I would have been able to see what I was shown at that moment. So what I'm saying is this: I was in the now, but I talked about melanin and how we would see it from this day forward. But the discussion was in the now. And when you begin to function with melanin in that manner, you will be in the now, yet you will be functioning from this day forward. When I say from this day forward, I'm looking at the days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that kind of thing. Next week, you'll be doing the same thing. But when I look at it spiritually, it is all one thing in the same place. Does that make sense to any of you or all of you?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
It makes sense.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Evelyn or anyone else?
So let me ask one more, I think. So how does the balm of Gilead work? Aren't we the balm of Gilead? And what does that mean?
There's a balm in Gilead, meaning that it's BALM, not a BOMB like they preach it. It's like an ointment that brings healing to the body. We are the force of healing for humanity. If you are spiritually wanting, if you are soulless, if your mind is barbaric, then you cannot bring healing to anyone. The only thing you can do is bring destruction. There is absolutely nothing in the pharmaceutical field or in this medical and in the medical community of this country that heals anything. It has a band-aid effect, and it creates more problems than it seeks to solve. Does that make sense?
It does. It has the energy of the Europeans.
That the energy of the European is not to heal, it is to make money. And when we grew up, there were herbs that we would go get from the woods or the backyard, and my grandmama and people in the neighborhood would use them to bring healing to us, and there were no side effects, and there were no chemicals involved. However, now it is different. So when we understand that we are the scapegoat and what that means, when we understand what Ashe is, we are creating with words. When we understand the spirituality of melanin, when we take all of that and couple it with the reality that we are divine, we are able to look at a plant and discern its value in terms of healing. We are able to bring people to a state of health that they have not experienced in the past. Why am I saying this to you? The Creator is rebuilding us with the building blocks that we were built with in the beginning. We are being restructured spiritually. And as the restructuring take place, we are being shown and given an understanding of those things that we have seen as being physical. Now we are beginning to see the wisdom of all of it, the wisdom of the melanin, the wisdom of the scapegoat, the wisdom of Ashe, the wisdom of the word that was translated Egypt, the wisdom of all of these things. We are beginning to see the wisdom of them, which means that we are being shown the spirituality of them. When we talk about philosophers and philosophy, that is not wisdom. That is not spirituality. That is a man who has taken spiritual things and manipulated them because he doesn't understand them and don't know how to use them. He manipulated them to make himself important, to make himself look smart, to make himself make others believe that he is something special. Wisdom deals with spirituality, period. Does that make sense? Talk to me, people.
Yeah.
George?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. You know, when Evelyn mentioned about the balm in Gilead, and you mentioned in reference to the plant, the ointment, when we think about our creation and why we as Africans bring healing to Western society and to other ethnic group, is because of who we were created to be. Melanin is in everything that's in our bodies, but at the same time, from a holistic point of view, is not just one aspect of healing where we look at it physically, but I think, as you mentioned, it's important that we can see just how divine we were created, that just sometimes just being in someone's presence bring healing. Just through our communication brings healing, just through us just being able to be on the same, as we were saying, frequency or vibration, or the harmony, that's all a part of who we are. And so I think that in terms of, I was doing some reading and it was talking about that at times during slavery, the Caucasian or the white person would have the body of a baby, and they would put their feet, again, on them in terms of trying to draw healing, or just trying to draw that energy, or that uniqueness about us. And so I wonder, in terms of us talking about this right now, does it have relevance in terms of, I just don't know why I like to be in their presence, or I don't know why, you know what I mean? I need to have them to be in this place where we are, because that's what they're trying to draw from. I don't know if that resonates, but I think that because of who we were created to be, that's all a part of melanin too, that brings healing. I'm done.
Excuse me, George. We were considered animals. We were considered stock. That's where the word stock comes from, at the stock market. Yet, our women nourished their babies. They suckled at the breasts of our women. Why? Because they saw a difference in a baby, a child, as they grew up. They saw a difference in their health. They saw a difference in how they progressed. And that is the reason, the main reason, among others, but that's the main reason that they had our women to breastfeed their children. And I say that to say this, it does make sense. And Europeans have always wanted to be around us, not because they love us, but to take from us what they could steal, and to use us to bring things to them. For example, Ernest Green was from Lawrence County, and he made liquor, and he kept getting arrested for it. And the sheriff, among other people, tried to take his recipe. He left and went to Tennessee, and the recipe was taken by Jack Daniels. And recently, the family, the descendants of Jack Daniel, began to allow his family to benefit from that recipe. They embraced him like they embraced no one else, not because they loved him, but because of what they could get from him. That is no different to this day. Candace Owens, who is a MAGA colored person, and she was paid by them during the campaign to offer things about Kamala Harris, to say things about Kamala that she could get away with, but a white person couldn't. So they kept her under their wing because they wanted something from her. They didn't love her. They wanted something from her. Now that she has come to that understanding, she wants to be welcomed back into the flock, but nobody trusts her now. So I say all that to say, from Ernest Green to Candace, they have always, from the nurturing of their babies, they have always stayed around us when they felt like they could get something from us. So, yes, sir, it does make sense. They want the energy.
Henrietta Lack. Yep.
Yes. And to this day, Henrietta Lack's family receives absolutely nothing
Mm.
from her blood. But they kept her close to them because they wanted something from her. And so now we are in the same space where Europeans want something from us. And what they want from us is for them to be able to control us through us by using us. So anyway, I hope that answers your question, George, or responds to what you're raising.
Yeah, yes, it does. And I think it all ties in to our conversation. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron?
Well, I was just thinking, ironically, today, I was speaking with someone who is Asian and moved here from California. Most of her family still lives out in California, but she was talking about how their community is going back to self-healing, away from doctors and hospitals and whatnot. And uh, she was telling me about a man who lives out there, wasn't close to her, but she traveled to where, in fact, she leaves here now to go to this man that they call, it's a name for him, but the name means healer. He's a healer. And she did tell me what part of California he lives in, but all he does is through massage and soup and different teas and different things that he put together. And she said people from all over the country goes to come to see him. And they, of course, the city got on him and tried to get him to stop, and they even arrested him at one point. But they couldn't hold him because he doesn't charge anything. People pay donations. He doesn't work, so people pay to keep him in business. And she said one of she did call the guy's name was a city councilman who got sick, and they thought he was going to die, and they took him there. And she said ever since then nobody bothers this man. But he talked about uh the health of we always drinking cold drinks, we always drinking ice water, and he one of the things he always says before you go to bed, she says she drinks a cup of hot tea. Drink something hot before you go to bed. Little things like that that you wouldn't think make a difference, that helps bring your body back into your diet, bring your digestive system back to where it's supposed to be. But just funny that I was just talking to her about this today.
Um, that's the lady at the nail salon. Ron,
Sir?
is that the lady at the nail salon?
No, not her. This is someone I work with.
Okay, the reason I asked you that is because the lady at the nail salon told me the same thing.
Yeah, she's pretty sharp too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions or comments about this?
Hey, Ryan, this is Charles.
Hey,
You
Charles.
remember when you said that you don't drink cold water when you wake up in the morning because cold water would wake you up? You start drinking room temperature water when you wake up,
Yeah.
so you can go back to sleep.
Well, I got part of that too from Pastor. He drank room temperature water, and I also got it when I used to cycle all the time, because you quench your thirst faster drinking room temperature water when you're extremely thirsty like that, because the body has to warm it up. So if you notice when you're real hot doing something athletic and you're real hot and you drink ice water, it sits on your stomach. You get this bloated feeling. The body can't work that fast to bring it to body temperature before it can start absorbing it. So yeah, it makes a big difference though, Charles.
It does. Why are we talking about this? Why have we been talking about seemingly simple things that we learned from religion all of our lives and getting great clarity on them? Why is that happening now? We are being prepared for something. We have crossed the threshold of embracing who we are, but the threshold of change. We've crossed that threshold. We are being conditioned now for what is to manifest. We are being conditioned to trust who we are. We are being conditioned to see that it is not a negative thing to take on the entanglements of mankind. We are being conditioned to see that when we have desires for change, when we have desires to be a force of healing for humanity, a life force, and we say Ashe, bringing it to fruition, manifesting it, we are being conditioned. So when we see these things manifested as from the results of words that have been spoken, not out of anger because someone did us wrong, but words that have been spoken to bring healing to those who have done us wrong as well as those who have not. We are being conditioned to believe and to act like we have the authority to transform negativity into positivity. We are being conditioned to recognize when a heart has been transformed. We are being conditioned to recognize when a heart of stone becomes a malleable heart of righteousness. All that we are doing now and understanding now are, all of this is for the preparation of manifestation of harmony. Harmony is not coming from the Creator. Harmony is coming from the created. And it is our words, our actions, our thoughts that brings harmony. We cannot say horrible things about the people who mistreat us and expect to be the arbiter of change. It's not going to happen. We are getting in our own way when we speak words that are negative or words that are disparaging. When we speak disparagingly about Europeans, we are getting in our own way. When we talk about what they are doing for purposes of transformation, that's one thing. But when we disparage them, when we talk about things like how crazy they are, how evil they are, when we talk about, say that I don't like white folk, even if you are joking, you can't do that anymore. If you are saying that white people are evil, you can't paint them with the same brush. If you say that the European mindset is the most evil, barbaric thing on this earth, you can say that because it's true. However, your reason for saying it is not to separate yourself from them. It is not to put a label on them. It is to recognize where they are so they can be changed. And that is the power of the spirituality of melanin. Our melanated words will bring healing, deliverance, change hearts, or our melanated words will fall on deaf ears. If you say that all white people are barbarians and evil, those still are melanated words, but they will not change anyone except you. And it will not change you for the better. Our words have to be chosen carefully when we speak. If we believe, well, we don't believe, we know it. If we are having a conversation and someone walks into the room and they say something that makes absolutely no sense, and they challenge everything that's being said from a foundation that is not solid or true, it changes the energy in the room, does it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yes, sir.
So, why is it we can think that when we say things like that, it doesn't change our energy? And when it changes our energy, we are no longer vibrating at the frequency of the universe. Our objective is to train ourselves to choose our words carefully so that we can at all times vibrate at the frequency of the universe. When that happens, when we say, physician, heal thyself, it is not talking about physician, heal James Richard. It's not talking about that. Physician, heal humanity. Because when you heal yourself, you are healing humanity. You are a Cabelonian. You are a spiritual entity. You are more than a mere man. You are divine. You are melanated, not only physically, but you are spiritually melanated. And everything about you matters. Everything about you has power and authority. And you must function that way. Because if you don't function that way, you don't believe it. The only reason you get in your car and crank it and drive it is because you believe you can drive it. If you did not believe you could drive it, you would be apprehensive about doing it. If you believe who you are, you will function, you will act like who you are. And when you make those mistakes and say things, you will correct yourself or you will embrace correction from others. Does that make sense? Come on,
Yes,
y'all.
sir, it does.
Question, Ron.
I'm just thinking about something. Go ahead. I'll come back.
I'm done.
We talked about this, but I want to go back to it again. I'm not sure how to ask the question. When your body becomes sick, can that body become sick on its own without mental or spiritual weakening or something? Here's what I'm getting at. Somebody can walk by you, and we talked about this. Somebody could walk by you and say, "Are you feeling okay?" And you say, "Yeah, I feel fine." By the third or fourth time somebody asks you that, it starts to play on your mind. So what is it that makes the body sick? Is it something that started somewhere else in the mind or in the spirit? Or can it be something that just attacked the body separately? I hope this makes sense.
It's not an attack at all. There's nothing attacked in the body. It is the person internalizing what's being said. You have just as much authority to slough that off and not allow it to have an effect on you as you do to internalize it. We have been trained. We have been taught. We have been conditioned. If enough people say it, we believe it and we respond to it. That happens in more ways than sickness.
Yeah.
There are children who told you'll never be anything. And they hear it enough time, especially from family members, and they struggle all their life because they have internalized it. And it is very difficult to help them purge that because it is so deep in their soul. They believe it. We have to be careful, not only about what we say, but what we internalize also. Just because people say it to you, it doesn't make it true and it doesn't make it right. That is the reason when we talk, when we discuss, when we teach, we say, check it out for yourself. We say, raise any question about it. Do not allow anyone to talk to you about anything if they are not willing to answer your questions. That's how you keep from internalizing stuff. Does that make sense, Ron?
Yeah, it does.
Thank you. Any other questions? No questions?
Well,
No
I have another one.
Okay, I get ready to say.
Correct me if I'm sorry.
I get ready to say it's another one, baby, not just one. Go ahead.
So, by our immune system being low, that also invites sickness as well. And to me, when you have a low immune system, you're vibrating at a low frequency. Can you elaborate on that?
When you have there are several reasons that your immune system can be low. The foods that we eat does nothing to strengthen our immune system because they have so many chemicals in it. And the only ones who are able to overcome the chemicals are us. And when we get to that place where we embrace all the things that I've talked about most of this evening, and the things I've said about bringing healing to yourself and others, when I talked about the understanding the scapegoat, the Ashe, on the authority that you have, understanding all of these principles of melanin that we've talked about, when we do that, then we are able to heal ourselves because healing is nothing but deliverance. So we are able to deliver ourselves from these things that beset these bodies, not us, but the body. We cannot do that now because of how we think and how we've been conditioned to think. I have seen it. I have seen healing. I have seen HIV healed. I've done it. I have seen cancer healed. I've done it. And proven by x-rays and tests. However, the creator, and I told Posey, I said, Posey, the creator said something to me. This was years ago. The creator said that you have healed people. You have brought bodies back to health. Now you will not be able to do that. Now it's time for you to learn the why. Why did it happen and how you were able to do it? And here I am. After all of these years, I am now at the why and the how. I'm beginning to see how it was done. And I, like you, have a long ways to go in terms of being purged of the European mindset that causes us to question everything and struggle to embrace truth because it is different than anything that we've ever experienced. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all of these principles that we talk about, the principles that we understand, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have arrived. That all of these principles are the ones that I live by without faltering every single day. That is not true. That is not true. I have to deal with me as you have to deal with you. I have to recondition myself. I have to follow the line, the journey, the energy of the ancestors to help me purge from all of these things that have caused us to stumble all of these years. It's not easy to do that, but I have chosen to do it. The question is, have you chosen as well? And if so, when you going to start? And if you have already started, don't stop. Questions, comments?
This is
I'm done.
Ramel. I want to ask a question.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure how to shape it. In what we're talking about now, does that also apply? We had talked earlier in the week, on the weekend, about retirement and that how that system came to be. Does that have the same fallacies as we have learned with medicine?
Everything in this country has a fallacy. Anything that in this country pertains to money has a fallacy. And everything in this country pertains to what? Money.
Money.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Go ahead.
retirement's not, I'm trying to, retirement is not, it's an illusion.
Retirement is a capitalist system that was designed for white people.
So how do we move out of that
I don't know.
false teaching?
I don't know. All I know is the system has to be redone. If I look at it from the comedic point of view, everybody in the community were taken care of. Those who were lame, those who were ill, those who were older people were taken care of. The whole community took care of them. How do you think that Africans lived before the 50s, before 55 maybe, early 60s, or early 60s, when black people started getting Social Security? How do you think we lived? It wasn't no retirement for us.
No.
We took care of each other. So I don't even deal with that question of retirement because indeed it is an illusion. It is something that, it is like the American dream. You're always striving for it, but the majority of the people find no comfort in it. And that is the reason that everything keeps getting more and more expensive to keep you struggling.
Is it also, it does. It's also one of the reasons we have moved away from taking care of one another.
Primarily our elderly. Yes. We did that because we became white in our mindset.
Okay.
When I grew up, the first generation of Richards to go to a daycare was not the generation of my kids. The generation of my kids started about 10 years ago. Because when I grew up with this on Richards take care of Richards. And we are the daycare. We reared our own children. People now have to use a daycare if they're going to work. And the society has developed itself so you have to do that. You're going to work. You're going to have to use a daycare. And that daycare also takes most of your money. If you don't make a lot of money, you can't afford the daycare. Because daycares now cost hundreds of dollars a week. So these are the things that has to be changed. The system is faltering. Let it fall on its face and we'll see what happens from there. Let me say this before I go. Let me ask this. Do you guys believe the truth that you're being taught in regards to who we are and how we move and how we stay in rhythm with the universe? What we've been talking about this evening, do you believe that? This is not rhetorical. I have a reason for asking.
I do.
Yes.
I believe it wholeheartedly now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Why did I ask you that? This doesn't work for you. It's not going to happen if you two-faced it. Let that sink in. If you are all holy and great on when we're talking and you're in tune with everything we say and you start mistreating people, forget it. It's not happening for you. It's not happening for you. You're going to be exposed. You're going to find yourself in a position where you need the very people you mistreat, or you're going to transition out of this earth and look back at what could have been and be regretful for what you did. No one on this phone, no one on Zoom is at an age where they should still be making excuses about how they were reared, and that's the reason they act the way they act. That is no longer valid. If you know who you are, you know that that was a part of making you who you are, and not a crutch, and not an excuse that you lean on when you mess up continuously. Treat people right. I hesitate sometimes to say treat people the way you want to be treated, because sometimes people don't even know how they want to be treated because they don't even like themselves. Treat people right.
I'm glad you straightened that up, Red.
You're welcome, sir.
And not only that, that all what you just said about treating people right and doing the right thing, see that right there happening during the time of my sister's funeral. All that was making me, pissed off and mad because it took so long. But that's because of my sister didn't do it the right way.
But you
And
did the right thing.
say what?
But you did the right thing.
And my nephew, I'm older than his grandfather, but he was talking to me like he's the man, and it almost made me mad. And I was going to do some things, but I just thank God that people knew me, caught me at that time, and they said, "You know you're not right. Do what's right yourself. Let him go the way he go. He'll straighten up sooner or later." So I had to do the right thing. I had to apologize to him.
So
Even
Charles,
though
I'm sorry.
yes, sir.
No, go ahead. Finish.
Even though that a lot of things was going on, in the family, and it seemed like everything come to me to straighten it out. And I was always, and when people come, family members call, I was getting in that mode of snapping on the phone with them. He said, "Oh man, why you snapping at me?" I said, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Now talk to me again. I'll try to straighten it up. So God catch me when I do that. Not only catch me, he like it's just like if you hit children, you're gonna get spanked. So I got spanked that time.
Well,
So
Charles,
I had to.
Charles, you have given an example
Yeah.
of what I'm talking about. You have given that example. And that example is when you mess up, straighten up. If you don't do the right thing, if you don't treat people right, if you are abusive to people, especially those who are kind to you, you got trouble headed your way. It's just that simple. There are no exceptions. It's going to happen. Why is it that you think that things are going to happen and to change these people who are doing all these things to hurt humanity? They're going to either change, or they're going to transition, or they're going to live in pain, whether it's emotional or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. What makes you think you're different?
There you go.
What makes you think you're different? Because you say that you black, you African? No, that doesn't make you different. It's not about you being African. It's about your mindset. It's about how you think, how you act. It's about how you speak to people. If you are spiritual and you know it, if you're divine and you know it, you don't have a nasty attitude. Regardless of what you have to deal with. I'm done. Hello. Questions or comments? I want to leave it there. And the reason I want to is because when you go to work, when you interact with people around you, when you go into the community, when you go into a store and someone is not kind to you, you don't have to be unkind to them. You don't. When somebody drives in front of you and takes the parking spot that you were going to take, you don't have to cuss them out and honk your horn and be all angry and bent out of shape. It hurts nobody but you. Think about that. Someone cut you off in traffic. Okay. Maybe they were saving you from something down the road that you didn't know about. Who knows? Does that make sense, guys?
Yes,
It
sir.
does.
Okay.
Yes,
So-
it do.
So I'm done unless there are questions or comments. I just want to make it clear. Because we are at a critical place now. And we are being shown things that I have never read that anyone saw. Okay. I'm done. Y'all have a good evening. I really appreciate your presence. Love you much and look forward to you on Saturday. And if there are questions that you come up with or things that happen with you during the course of the week, you have the numbers. Make a call or send a text. Okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.